What do you get when you cross a Jehovah's Witness with an Episcopal? Somebody that will knock the door at 7:30 in the morning, you open the door, and the person won't say anything.
What I got on tape.
The mission of the Diocese of Southeast Florida is to make known to all people the transforming power of the gospel of Jesus Christ, including all, excluding none. Our vision is bring them in, build them up, tend to their needs, send them out, and harvest God's fruits. One of our parts of our vision is to eventually increase, pretty much like double our membership, and add about 20 new congregations. That's what we have on our web page by the year 2020. Probably I'll be dead by then, but the reality is that this was made pretty much at the beginning of my ministry. I came to the Diocese of Southeast Florida in the year 2000. And I think that I need to tell you a little bit before that of who I was. When I went to Louisiana, I came from the Diocese of Southeast Florida. That was when I was ordained deacon and priest. And the bishop, after seminary, sent me to inner city, Miami at the time. And when I arrived there was only one person in the congregation, a Hispanic congregation. I was supposed to be the assistant of the Anglo. I was the curate, priest, and it was in a dying English-speaking church, and they wanted to develop this Hispanic. The previous Hispanic minister had some conflict with the rector, so the bishop moved him to another parish. So he took everybody from that parish to his parish. And that's Father Restrepo. And when I got in, there was this lady, and at the end of the services, Father, thank you, so glad that you're here. But I must confess that I did not leave because I don't have a car. So she said, don't worry about it, just don't buy a car. She became my altar guild and everything, senior warden, junior warden. And I had to go back to my Methodist background. I'm a convert from the Methodist church. The way I came to the church is after getting in trouble with the Methodists. This was in the 60s when they integrated the school. This was in the South, and I challenged them on their Christianity. And I didn't realize that when you're in a scholarship, you don't question things. So I moved to New York. My dad had arrived from Cuba. And for a while, I was so angry I didn't go to church. My mother was a very devout Methodist and always prayed for me. And eventually, I began to feel that hunger to the gospel. And it was with the newspapers. There were no computers back there then. And it was reading the newspaper. They invited to the Easter Sunday. And I thought, this is great. Let's go and check the Episcopal. I had gone through different churches. I had even checked the Hare Krishnas. And I was looking for spirituality somehow. And I went to St. John the Divine on Easter Sunday. And like a good Hispanic, I arrived, actually, before the actual time, 1 minute before the service started. And I just thought, my God, this is going to be an empty church. Well, it was not. It was a packed church. And I ended up, they took me to the side, in front of a column. There was the last seat in front of the column, and that's all I could see. Welcome. So I said, well, I mean, that was the only seat. I could have arrived early like everybody else. But amazingly, God had a surprise for me. Because when the bishop, I imagine it was the bishop, I heard bang, 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 knock on that door. And then the trumpets began to blare. And the procession came in. I could see the smoke going up, the side. And the choir singing. the only thing I could see was the little tip of the bishop's mic. But then I remember the sermon of the bishop was Bishop Donegan, back there then. That was a lousy preacher. But, what do you expect from the bishop, right? Oh, let me tell you, that was, if I would be a Baptist, that would be, I would say that would have been my moment of conversion. I converted to the Episcopal Church, but also to the Lord. I saw how heaven was going to be. Lousy preaching and a bad seat.
Bishop, wait a minute, you're shaking. It's no preaching. That's heaven.
But anyway, but it was not until I came to Miami in 1969, that was the year when our diocese was created, when they divided South Florida into 3, and I began to check churches, and I went, I was a college grad, and I spoke English, and all those things, but I went to one congregation to the other, and, I didn't feel welcome. Nobody ever cared for me. But there was this Cuban congregation all the way in the other end from where I lived, and I attended, and my God, I fell in love. It was a place where they would not give you those big cups of coffee, they would give you espresso, and they didn't mind if you took a cigar out. And it really was not the most dynamic, spiritual, but it was something wonderful. They had just bought the building. It was an old Baptist church, and the pigeons were still flying, and a couple of times I was touched by the Spirit. But it really became a wonderful time, and it was, they brought Crucillo for the first time. I attended the first Hispanic Crucillo, and it was a very, it spoke to my culture, but also spoke to my faith. And I didn't, I had come originally to be a Methodist minister. Now, I am not, I was working for the airlines. I used to work for cargo. I used to sell empty space in the sky. I still do. And, it was actually a very transforming thing until at the time I was with some friends trying to start a business bringing vegetables from Central America, so I used to travel there, and it was in the loneliness at night. You could do either 3 things: go with the hookers, go to drink, or go to a prayer meeting. I went to the third. Oh yeah. Well, I did a little drink. But the thing is that